Sophia. This is my Calligraphy for Beginners tutorial series. I will be doing a lesson for every letter of the alphabet. We will be doing 10 different styles in uppercase and lowercase. I believe anybody can do calligraphy even without fancy tools. So I started doing this series with a Crayola marker. But as I have been getting many requests asking to do the tutorial using both the Crayola marker and the pointed pen, as some calligraphers prefer to use the pointed pen. So if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you like to receive notifications about my new videos, please click on the bell icon below. So I guess let's get started without any ado. For this, I will be using a HP LaserJet Premium Printer paper, 32 pounds. Reason to use this high gauge paper is, as I will be demonstrating the pointed pen writing in the same paper, I have to use a thicker paper to get sharp, nice letters. You can use photocopy paper, but you won't get sharp edges in the pointed pen writings, and also there is a chance of the paper particles getting stuck in the pointed tip. Then the tools I will be using would be a regular Crayola supertips marker and a pointed pen. As it is easier to get the strokes in an angle with an oblique holder, I'll be using one. And the nib I would be using would be a Nicoche nib. I will mention all the tools I'll be using in the description below. So today we'll be doing lowercase d. So this is the basic D I usually use. In my calligraphy fonts, I start with the connector from the previous letter, if it is in the middle of the word. And then I do the oval. Then I go up, in, and make a loop and come down with thicker strokes. And I extend the stroke to the next letter connector. As the next letter connector. So the second style is also another way of writing a basic calligraphy font. So let me just number the styles first. So style number 2, I would start with the connector from the previous letter and then do my usual oval for the D. And then without going for a loop, I start from the upper line and then come down in a thicker stroke and extend it to the next letter connector. So the third style, I'll be starting with the connector. I continue the connector into my oval. As like earlier, I stopped the connector and then drew the oval separately. But here I continued my connector to the oval and then did a loop and to the next letter connector. So as the fourth style, I'll be doing an extended ascender. So you draw the connector and then the oval. You stop there and then you draw the extended ascender and then come down in your downstroke, thicker downstroke, and then connect it to the next letter. So you see here I made a loop as an extended ascender. So as the fifth style, I'll be doing a combination of the second style and the third style with the small swirl. So I start with my connector continuing to the oval style. As in the second style, I'll start from up and then make a swirl and then come down and connect it to the next letter. So here you can see I have put a small swirl. So the sixth style, I start with the connector from the previous letter, and then I start from the space in between the midline and the baseline, and then I make a small swirl instead of the oval. So I start from the middle and go out, and then I draw the ascender from top. So you can even put a small swirl on top. So as the seventh style, I'm doing the continuing connector again, but in the middle I put a small loop, so the loop will be centered in the oval, and then I do my looped ascender. So you can see here from the connector from the previous letter, I put a small loop in the middle of the oval. So for my eighth style, I'll be going for a swirly oval again. So in this, I'll be starting from outside of the oval, whereas in the sixth style, I started from inside of the oval, and then I draw my straight line ascender. So here you can either stop here, or you can continue all the way to the next letter. So you can use this as an ending letter or a mid letter as well. So for the ninth style, I'll be going with the connector all the way to the ascender. So you see I went all the way up to the center line and then come down with a small loop and then do the oval in between that. So this connector goes all the way to the ascender line. So for my 10th style, I'll be going for a simple flourish. I start with the connector from the previous letter, and then I draw my oval in the D. Then I draw the ascender. Flourishing should be done last. So I do the small flourish, go back and front again with a small swooshing motion like this. So we have completed all our 10 styles of lowercase d with the Crayola marker. So now let's move on to how to do it with the pointed pen. So to start with, basically you get the thickness of the strokes, like the upper stroke in thin lines and the downstrokes in thicker lines by applying pressure to the nib. So to get a thicker line, you have to apply more pressure. So you go like this in a thin stroke, and then you apply a little bit more pressure to come down on the downstroke. So you can see even on the second style, to get the thin stroke, you very lightly draw with the nib, and then you come down on a thicker stroke by applying pressure. So the styles of the letters would go as same as what we did in the Crayola marker steps. So you do the oval and you go with the loop. So even on the fourth style, I draw the connector from the previous letter, then the oval, and then I complete the letter by drawing the ascender with an extended part to the ascender. And then on the fifth style again, I do the oval and then the small swirl and then the ascender with the connector. So you can come down again on the ascender or the downstroke if you feel like the line is not thick enough. But you have to be very careful not to tear off the paper, because when you're applying pressure, it gives a friction against the paper, and as it's wet with ink, there is a chance it might tear. So moving on to our 7th style, I do the small loop in the middle of the oval. Now you see there is a clear difference in these tiny details with the Crayola marker and the pointed pen, because the pointed pen gives more tiny details, but even with the Crayola marker you can get the details, but not in very small letters. So here on the 8th style, again I do the small swirl, but you see there is a small gap here, up with my nib. So then moving on to the 9th style, I do the center connector. So, and then comes the flourishing. You can see the flourishing is very beautifully done with the pointed pen. Even with the Crayola marker you can get the effect, not as sharp, but it's all about the practice and how much dedicated you are to doing this. So we have completed all 10 styles with both our tools, the Crayola marker and the pointed pen. So let's move on to the word of the day. Alright, we've completed all 10 styles of lowercase d and the word of the day. If you would like to learn more basic stuff like basic strokes of calligraphy and how to form letters with basic strokes, go to my channel or click on the link below and you will find videos on those as well. Also, you can find a free practice sheet in the description below, so you can keep practicing your 10 styles. So if you like this video and would like to see more videos like this, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on your bell notifications. Bye bye.